Hello and welcome everybody again to United Lightworkers. And today we're joined by another special guest. And we have our friend Murray Ansell on with us today. Welcome, Murray.
Nice to be here, Chris.
Yeah, so Murray Ansell has a diverse business background, including the big four: accounting, investments, and commercial banking, and technology licensing. In 2003, Murray noticed a self-sabotaging pattern in his consulting business, which led him to an awaken to the spiritual nature and into a soul-led journey into the world of human energy. Murray was guided from the angelic realm, including to form life energy coaching and business energy coaching. All programs and coaching delivered through these business units, my apologies, use a unique quantum field that massively accelerates each client's alignment with self love, financial freedom, self awareness, discovery, and life purpose, and the embodiment of that unique and magnificent purpose in a thriving business. So, welcome again. So, let's get started.
That was a
Sorry.
mouthful, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a good one. But I loved it, and I love your energy. So I'm excited for today's interview.
So am I.
All right. So our first question: why is it that you do what you do? Where were you? What happened? Who you're surrounded with, and really what inspired you to do what you do today?
It all came out of a business problem, as you just noted. And I was in very much in my 3D world as a business consultant at the time. But I noticed that I had a recurring pattern. For the first time in my life, I noticed that there was a self-sabotaging recurring pattern. And when I recognized that, I thought, wow, maybe there is something to this subconscious mind stuff. And so I started looking into that. And then very quickly, sort of doors started opening, figuratively speaking. And another client phones up within 24 to 48 hours and starts telling me about this energy healing tool that he'd come across. And that can help people with their negative emotions and limiting beliefs. And I thought, wow, that's really interesting. I might have some limiting beliefs. So anyway, long story short, got some I was able to learn that process. I got some coaching from someone who had that process, and her business, we're focusing on business, her business started really taking off. My business was still not recovered from this situation and not even looking like recovering. So I thought, there's something going on here, something about this energy stuff, but it's not working for me right now. So then I asked her, what do you do when your best stuff doesn't work for you? And then that led to another person, another business actually, that opened up my intuition, and very, very quickly and very unexpectedly, such that ever since that day, almost 20 years ago, I've had this direct connection in real time with the Archangelic realm. And which was really rather a surprise, a delightful surprise, but a big surprise because I've never really been interested in the spiritual realm. I'd not discounted it as a possibility that it might actually exist, but I was more focused on my business. And then I thought, okay, well, I've got this energy transformation tool. I've got this connection so that I can ask questions and find answers. So let's play. Let's play for a bit. Let's see if I can figure out what's going on with me, because the other people haven't been able to help me. So let's go. So the archangels, that was the beginning of what is really a soul-led journey. And I say soul-led and archangelic-led because the archangels are part of our soul energy. So what was happening is these energies that are actually part of me and are part of everyone else had woken me up to who I'm here to be in this lifetime. And in this lifetime, it turned out that I am here to understand human energetics, the way the human beings on planet Earth operate energetically, and to transform what is not aligned with love back into alignment with love, because our soul, the archangels, archangelic energies, angelic energies, are love, are aspects of love. So when we're out of alignment with that, meaning we're out of alignment with being love, but also being our unique, pursuing our unique purpose, because we can be loving to someone else, but not loving to us by being out of alignment with our purpose. And there are a lot of people that are in that situation, and that creates learning opportunities, let's say, with respect to self-love for those people. And that shows up in their lives as relationship problems, financial problems, health problems, something in among those three, or maybe a combination of thereof. So this was thrilling to know that I had this opportunity, and just like everybody, when your purpose shows up, it's the most exciting thing that you could, just that could be. And there really is nothing else that you want to do. So that's been the journey for almost 20 years now. As a result of that journey, we've created programs that are archangelically led, archangelically inspired, and they do the transformation within our clients. So it's a fascinating journey, and I couldn't imagine myself doing anything else.
Well, that's fantastic. Yeah, and we had some great conversation there. So absolutely. Our next question. So, I mean, you kind of talked a little bit about this, but how do you help people? And if someone were to come see you, what should they expect when they come see you?
Well, what we don't generally do, we don't operate in the health area, holistic healthcare. We don't deal with physical health, that's for sure. And I think that was done purposefully, because then that gives us a point of difference from all the people that do, and a way for us to help them and them to help us, and to help grow each other's work through referrals and that sort of thing. The archangels can do whatever they want to do. They are the energy transformers. They can work in whatever field. So what we do, we help people with their self, their relationship with their self. Primarily, that's the first part of every journey that people take with us, because how we feel about ourselves shows up in all of our relationships, and it also shows up in our relationship with our body or our health. But it shows up in our marriage, our relationship with our kids, our relationship with our co-workers. Every human relationship, for sure. So that's usually step one for people. Step two, which also benefits from that step one, is working on on a person's relationship with money, because money is ubiquitous in today's world. And the way the brain works, the brain is like an association machine. So when we see someone doing something in relation to money that we don't approve of, for example, that we didn't think was a loving thing to do, and maybe that happened to us, or maybe it happened to someone else, but we might make a judgment about that. And every time we do that, we are moving further and further away from being in alignment with love in relation to money. And if we want to be benefiting from divine flow, just synchronistically receiving easily with ease and grace, we definitely don't want to have any blocks that come from non-loving consciousness. So we have a program called Financial Freedom that helps people out of that, and so that they are then aligned lovingly with money. Those are our level one programs, and then those will benefit anyone, no matter what their worldview. Maybe their worldview is that, just like someone I knew once who just thought everything was stuff. It's just physical, right? And that's fine, but that'll help their relationships, that'll help their finances. Now, there are many people these days awakening to, the bigger questions of life, and, why am I here? What is my purpose? That sort of stuff. So that's where our level two programs come in. So we have two programs in level 2. One's called, we have 3, but these 2 are particularly relevant. Know yourself and know your purpose. Know yourself is probably my favorite program and amongst all the ones we offer, because know yourself reconnects the person going through it with their full spiritual resource team. So it reconnects them with their archangelic support. It reconnects them with their angelic support. It reconnects them with their ascended masters. It makes sure that the part of their soul, their inner self that's with them here in the physical, is properly configured with the higher self, which is their essentially their junction point with their what you could call their God self. That's huge and enormously powerful, and can't be packed into a human body. So we've got about as much of ourself as we can get in here, but there needs to be that connection that's operating cleanly and clearly. And most people's energy has been permeated by other influences. So it's about cleaning that up, and then cleaning up their any error consciousness that they have relating to God and goddesses and this sort of stuff, so that they can fully connect with the rest of themselves as that loving being. And then know your purpose is about, so once that happens, they start experiencing a lot of synchronicity in their life, because their inner self and their higher self, or their God self, so to speak, is pointing them towards their purpose, or trying to show them, demonstrating itself essentially, and reinforcing their knowing that this is real. So it's a playful sort of a process. And then going into know your purpose, no one is able to tell anyone else what their purpose is with any sort of accuracy, because it's self-defeating. It takes the excitement, the thrill out of it, the energy out of it, the passion out of it. So know your purpose is about eliminating the inner blocks and barriers to that being able to come easily, with ease and grace, through the person's heart energy, from their soul, so that they can have that epiphany, that amazing, aha moment, when they finally realize, oh, this is it. This is why I'm here. And they can start sort of connecting all the dots from what's been happening in their life that has actually been purposeful towards this very moment. And then at that point, what are they going to do with that purpose? So there are many situations, not all of them, but many situations where the person's highest purpose is best expressed through business. So in our level 3 programs, the first of those programs is Love Your Business. Because again, if people have observed situations happening, like businesses firing a lot of people just like that, behaving badly, so to speak, or in non-loving ways, you can have kind of toxic consciousness relating to the process of business and the activity of it. So this helps them reconcile their business consciousness back with love, so that they can then express their purpose through business and thrive doing so.
Excellent.
So that's the main thrust of what we do. We have some other programs. We have low cost programs to get people sort of financially secured. So some people are leaking their energy and in a really bad straits financially. So we have a program called Quick Money, which is a low cost program that gets people secured in that way energetically. There are other things that we'll mention a little bit later on, a couple of other really easy introductions to energy transformation.
Awesome. And maybe one question, some of the viewers might have is, like, you talked about the different levels. Does someone need to take level 1 in order to take the level 3? Or is it like...
They do.
Yes.
Do.
Okay.
There are some combinations that can be done by people who are pretty awake, spiritually awakened. But definitely level 1 will be good for everybody. And then there are different applications where you can combine, mix and match. But generally speaking, you would definitely not be using level 3 programs before you have done level 2 programs, for example. And you wouldn't do level 2 before level 1. So I guess that answers the question.
Gotcha, for sure, for sure. Thank you. That was good. Good explanation as well. Like very thorough. Excellent. Our next question here. All right. So, how long does it take for a client to see results and to feel better? And how long do people usually see you? I know we have different, obviously, you have the introduction courses and then different levels. So basically, like, if I'm coming, maybe many people want to get to that level of like building that trust factor. So they may start with the lower ones. So what kind of results would you get with that lower end ones? Do you want to go and take level 1, 2, 3, and maybe the coaching certification that I know you have as well?
The results are really profound. The person will definitely feel different. They routinely say, "Oh, I feel lighter" by the end of the session. But here's the thing with these programs. The archangels are working on their energy throughout the program, but also for the next 7 days nonstop. So they're getting 7 whole days of high frequency energy transformation, which is going right to the roots of whatever their issues are in the subject area of that week's module. These are modular programs, these written works that are channeled. They read them. They takes maybe 5 to 7 minutes to do that. And then you go about the rest of your life for the next week. But there will be changes in your life that happen as your energy is being transformed. So let's take module 1 of program 1, for example. So that's the Love Yourself program, and module 1 is the mother relationship. Okay, so the mother relationship is extremely influential, probably the most influential relationship that we have. So that influences our relationship with women generally. That influences our relationship with older women particularly. So if we go into the workplace, for example, and we've got a supervisor or a manager who's a woman, almost certainly there's going to be a reflection in that relationship of our relationship with our mother.
100%.
But wouldn't it be nice if we had resolved our relationship with our mother back to, divine love? And then let's see how that shows up in the workplace, in that relationship. It would be very different. So I can give you many examples of how this works, but let me give you a spectacular example. There's a gentleman that I worked with who was in a really nasty legal battle over a family trust. Really nasty. His starting position was he was a couple of $100,000 in debt, but he's a very kind, open, warm-hearted person. But he had been a trustee in this situation, and then his elderly parent had been tricked into getting him kicked out. I mean, it was just really messy. By the end of the 6 weeks of this Love Yourself program, that had resolved itself to the extent that he got, instead of there being a legal battle, they were actually attacking each other legally. He got a very, very nice distribution, let's say, out of that
Wow.
trust. That the whole contention relating to that situation was not fully resolved at that point, but it resolved his financial situation. And then as he did the later programs, it had even much larger positive benefits to him. So that was one. There are many examples. People who have had toxic bosses, and then they finish the program, and then the boss gets transferred somewhere else.
Right.
Boss doesn't get fired, but
Sure.
the toxic boss was reflecting the toxic relationship with somebody in their life from way much earlier in their life, because the main principle is we're always seeing a reflection of our own energy.
Right. Or you may get a raise or a job somewhere else giving you more money is a possibility. Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I've had
many.
that situation as well. When someone went
Right.
through that program, they picked up a new job that paid them 3 times what they've ever been paid before.
Wow. Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
Excellent.
But
All right.
that was related to a self-worth issue, because the love yourself is all these self things like self-acceptance, allowance, self-respect, self-worth, self-esteem, self-confidence, all these self relation
Gotcha.
aspects.
Yeah, I love that. I love that course. That course sounds great
Yeah.
for a lot of people. A lot of people, I mean, yeah, self-love is such a missing trait in people, and it could cause so many things. Yeah, so awesome. All right, so let's go on to our next question. And so you kind of mentioned a lot of this in our conversation, but maybe get a little bit more detail. How is your therapy or technique different, and what separates you from other people? Why should people come see you versus somebody else?
Absolutely. Um, Ours, to my knowledge, ours is the only program that is actually archangelically run. I'm an instrument of their work. I volunteered to be a catalyst, a human catalyst for the energy transformation that needed to happen, to create an energy field that accompanies all of this work. So over the last almost 20 years, they have worked with me day in, day out, every day, all day, to transform my energy, the energy of my lineage, my wife's energy, the energy of her lineage, our clients' energies, and all sorts of different ways that weren't accessible, I suppose, easily or as spectacularly through our lineages, which there were pieces of the puzzle that would have application for others through those clients' situations. So it's been very much a synchronistic thing where the right people have come in at the right time to help build this energy field, this quantum energy field. And so when people use any of our programs or just get one-to-one coaching or group coaching, energy coaching from myself or any of our life energy coaches that have gone through these programs, they access that that field as a massive accelerator. So they don't have to go through all the machinations of this particular type of issue, because there are many, many, many different layers of any issue that is coming up in a person's life. So why not knock them all out? That's what happens. So that's why this work, it goes so deep, it's so complete, and it's so quick. But then the other aspect of our work, these modular programs I mentioned earlier, they don't really need human assistance. When the person reads these modules, it starts that week-long process for each subject area, so each week. And right now, I provide a supportive email at the end of the week. So when I'm not actually coaching them directly, other than through the words on those modules, I can do that, but it's not necessary for them to get the full benefit of them. So at the end of the week, the client writes down their experience, their recollection of their experience during the week, and essentially are giving me permission to connect with the archangelic energies, as I call them, to give me their guidance as to what the person wants to know, what's important for them to know about what they've described, and maybe there's some things they haven't described that need to be mentioned to them as well. That helps them to build the knowing that this is real, and just to continue on with this with confidence. But what I'm really doing is I'm a, what you call it, a color commentator, like in a sports match, right? It's already happened. What happened has happened, but you're going to find out, what really did happen at the deeper level. So very much like Tony Romo in the NFL, now that he's not playing.
Right. Some people might think that's a bad example.
Yeah,
Depends on what
especially
part of
any
the
association with
state
the
you
Dallas
are, right?
Cowboys after last
Yes.
week. But yeah.
Awesome. And so a little bit off topic, but maybe some viewer may ask this, but the Archangel realm, like what is that like? Are you talking like what realm is that like? What are you talking about when you talk about that level?
Right. Yeah, so the first we are living as human beings, or we have been for thousands of years, in what you could call the third dimension. The Archangelic realm is the 12th dimension. Human beings, as they evolve in their humanness, can evolve within a human body to the level of the 6th dimension. But the angelic realms start at the 7th and then go up to the 12th, being the archangels. So each of those angelic realms are schools, essentially. For example, the 9th, for example, is the school of telepathy. The 10th, the school of energy. So the people who are bringing through Reiki, for example, that energy is coming from 10th dimensional beings. So it's different energy from what's coming from the 12th dimensional beings, because this is all these have different energy, different frequencies. The 11th dimension, and there are a bunch of people on the planet who have whose soul evolution has risen to that level, and they're coming in, and a lot of them are being coaches and helpers in the ascension of humanity up to the 5th and 6th dimensions. That is the school. The 11th dimension is the school of self-love. So those people, if they're going, they're here to grow as well. They're not here just to be selfless, although they may have come in to learn that, so that they don't, there is always growth. As we help others, we grow as well. And sometimes that growth is to learn that selflessness is actually not an aspect of love. And it's just that recognition that allows those people to grow and expand themselves when they're coming from that dimension. So the 12th dimension is divine love. It is fully aware of divine love, what it is. The archangels oversee aspects of divine love. Each of them has their own different portfolios, so to speak. And so this work has been a very interesting work for me, because as a human, I'm in human form. I've forgotten who I am, like everyone else. And I'm learning all over again about, which archangels oversee which aspects of love. What are these aspects of love, as opposed to some of them that you would think are but aren't, and need to be transcended. And it's fascinating stuff.
So you're talking like, I know maybe some people have heard of like Archangel Michael or Gabriel. Is that like, that's the level we're discussing?
That's it.
Okay,
That's
great.
it. Exactly.
Excellent. Perfect. All right, so let's move on to the next question. Yeah, you talked about a great success story, but that's really our next question. What is one of your greatest success stories, and what did you really learn from that experience?
I don't. All of it is a journey, right? So there are things that need to be experienced in order to be transcended, to create the solution to what that experience was.
Sure.
So I look at it from the point of view of my mission of getting this work out into the world. So for me, success is expanding my impact. And I think for everyone who's really aligned with their purpose, it'll be the same definition of success or something similar. How much more impact, loving impact, can a person make in the world? So for me, right now, there are a couple of different areas that I'm looking to make more and more impact. One is with our Life Energy Coach certification program. So the development of that program and it being successful with the Life Energy coaches so far, just a few of them so far, but it'll grow and grow as the word gets out, to me is the biggest accomplishment, because that's going to grow when I'm 6 feet under. So, whatever I would do, when I stop breathing, I'm not doing it anymore. But this is something that will continue on, and these people will continue to take the work out into the world. So that to me is the most fulfilling part of what I do now that the programs are fully developed.
Amazing, amazing. And how long has it taken you to put some of these programs together?
I think those programs were ready to start to come together about 2014. I think when I look at the copyrights on some of these materials, it's that some of them start in 2014, but it maybe took because they evolved out of coaching programs that I was doing with different people. So some people needed different types of coaching, and then I was guided to take notes, and so I would take notes, and then this would become a module. And then I would get told, okay, so for the next 6 weeks, because all of these modular programs are 6-week programs, you're going to be downloading a program a few days before the coaching session, sending it off, and the person will read it, and then we'll do the coaching with you two, with me and the client, and it'll create that energy solution, or the starting point for it at the very least. And then as we coach more and more people, I would get some energy transformation happening within me. I wouldn't have to initiate it. It would just start happening before I would coach that person using these modular programs. So they became more and more comprehensive in terms of their energy, the starting point of their energy, and less of tweaking and customization needed directly between the archangels and the client. So as you can tell, over what's that, 8 years, 6 to 8 years, there's been a lot of maturing of those programs, so that now they're the work it's just phenomenal. It's very phenomenal work. It just creates incredible change.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. All right, and so then on the opposite side of that, what kind of maybe never like to say failure, but we always learn from those challenges, those failures. What would be some kind of challenge or some kind of failure that you may have experienced that now you look back and say, wow, that was a big shift in that? What did you learn from that?
I just feel like when you're in your ego, I was a very competitive sort of person. I played competitive sports when I was young, and I loved it. And I played tennis, and I was just atrocious when I wasn't playing well. I was a brat, and I had that really deeply ingrained competitive element to me. I channeled it probably productively in business, but not like I did on the tennis court when I was a little kid. But I learned from discipline that was applied relating to that. But this was very egoic behavior. It's very three-dimensional, 3D egoic behavior. So I was very analytical. I just grew up that way. My father was a banker and accountant, and I became an accountant and then a banker. So I really wasn't living out my purpose, but I was using tools that I had access to through my DNA. We all have those resources that we can tap into. And then when I came over from New Zealand, where I grew up, to California, and I got into my own businesses. They were consulting types of businesses. So so there's a certain level of perfectionism that I felt I needed to do because I was representing myself. I didn't want to, get sued. I didn't want to let the client down, that sort of stuff. So I was very kind of controlling and competitive and those sorts of things. But then that situation happened with the client that woke me up to a completely different aspect of myself. So I wouldn't call it a failure. It was just a necessary transition. I needed to be that beginning Murray in order to have something to work with in the next phase. So I don't actually see things as failures. I see things as learning opportunities. I don't see things as problems. I see them as again, opportunities for growth.
Absolutely.
And so when you come to that place, you sort of forgive yourself any self-criticism, self-condemnation, that sort of
stuff.
And you just say, oh, that's cool. Okay, that's how that worked.
Right. It's,
Yeah.
and I agree. It's just an easy thing for people to get right away. But, once you get into this work, you realize that there's been no failures, whether it's a relationship, a career, or, what family ties. It's really, you got to look at them as an opportunity. What can you grow, or what did you learn, or from those experiences? So, yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Thanks, Murray. So the next one would be, what are you working on now that's really truly inspiring you, that excites you, that really, I know you talked about this coaching program, but what?
Yeah, so that's those coaching programs are now in place, and they're held in the up here in the lifeenergycoaching.com website. So the next phase, that's really at its early stages, is a website called Business Energy Coaching. So it's taking these programs and taking them into business. Business has not historically been a very warm and cuddly place. It's like a place. It's almost like a gladiatorial arena, especially when you're in your own businesses. There's a lot of people that operate in business from that intensely competitive mindset. Nothing to do with the power of love. But then you do see that there's some businesses that are starting to recognize that when you treat people with love, you bring love into business for your employees, for your suppliers, for your clients or customers, you get better results. You just
Right.
naturally get better results. So it's about helping business leaders um, reconfigure essentially their energy to be coming from their heart energy rather than their head. Now, this is a great analytical tool, really got some really good value to give, but when this is in charge, that's a bit of a problem, because things can be done that are very sabotaging to the person themselves who's doing them, to their business. They think that, well, they have to do things this way, and destroy a relationship or destroy a supplier, or fire a bunch of people. When if they looked at it from a perspective of, well, these people that we were going to fire, they all have unlimited potential that can be unlocked. And if they were on our side, if we were treating them well, and we were inspiring them and helping them to offering them the opportunity to inspire us, to come up with their own ideas, to feel like they're contributing and actually be contributing to the firm, you're going to get hundreds of percent more benefit from that relationship. The companies can
100%.
benefit more. So, my passion now is to take what I've learned, take the programs that have been developed, and introduce them to business leaders. And those business leaders can be in small businesses or large businesses. It really doesn't matter to me. It's whoever's open to a better way of doing business. And so those business leaders will start to develop heightened intuition that they may not have been tapping into previously. They're going to be experiencing a lot more balance in their life between work and home, which a lot of especially senior execs, really struggle with, because
Right.
they feel like the company owns them, and maybe the company does, but maybe they're in a position to change that to some extent. So health issues that come with, it's just horrible. The higher up you go in the corporation, yeah, you got the golden handcuffs, but your health can suffer, your marriage can bust up, all sorts of nasty stuff can happen, that it's not enjoyable living that way. There is a better way. So business energy coaching is where my passion is right now, and that's where I'm developing my impact.
That's awesome. And I love that, how much, yeah, difference you can bring love to change. And just maybe give an example for people how you can do this to see change it, right away. I do this lots with, like, maybe somebody at the cashier, or restaurant, like a server or someone where, you can sense that the person before, like they're having a crappy day. And I just bring an authentic, loving self. And it's just like you see a shift, and it's like amazing to witness that all I was is being just friendly. I just said hello,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden there's like a shift, and it's amazing. So people can bring that to just to see how that could look if it was in a business. It's just amazing.
It is interesting. I mean, I'm going to give the viewers a very valuable golden nugget that they can
Perfect.
use, which is aligned with what you're saying, because not everybody is going to be in that energy when they're around those people. So this is a way of preparing one's energy for being love in the world.
Okay.
So one way you can do this is just to close your eyes. It's going to take about a minute, this thing. So you can close your eyes and you just visualize a bright white light, not bright white light, just white light coming through the crown of the person's head, coming down to the heart area, the center of the chest, off to the little bit off to the left into the heart. Okay, so just visualizing that for 30 seconds. So what we're doing there, as long as we do it for 30 seconds, is we're just cleaning out our heart energy. We're bringing archangelic energy into our heart, and we're cleaning out anything that's not love in there. And so at the end of that 30 seconds, and maybe this is a person that we are having a lot of contention with at work. Maybe it's our boss, maybe it's someone who's reporting to us, maybe it's a coworker, whoever it is. We'll visualize our heart at the end. Once we've cleaned our heart out of any toxic energy, we're going to outflow that white light out to that person's. We're going to visualize that person, and we're going to flow that white light out to that person's heart. And we're going to do that for 30 seconds. Okay. And you'll know when it's done, you'll just sort of feel a sense of completion. And then you see what happens with that relationship. It will transform.
No, I love that. I end a lot of my meditations like in groups, like with something similar. It's amazing, amazing, excellent. And then the last question really is, looking back at your experience, if you had like three really things that you really would, even if you knew right now what you didn't know as a kid, like what would be three things that you thought that could really make a difference in people's life, your life, had you known it sooner?
Yes. Okay. Number one, everything is a reflection of our energy. Everything, even the hard stuff, even the stuff that makes us feel terrible, makes us so annoyed, so intolerant, that it can't be us. It was them. It was them, No, that person's energy has activated something within our consciousness, within our energy, that's out of alignment with what's loving for us. So that's number one, to take responsibility for our how we feel and what's going on in our experience. And if we are having an experience of life that is very unloving, that rather than to defy that little piece of wisdom and say that cannot be true, just be open to it. Just be open to the possibility that that's true, because when you own that, it's not a sign of weakness. Everybody deals with it. It's an opportunity for you to go to resolve whatever that is. So that's number one. Number two, and this could be number one too, everyone and everything is love at their essence. That's hard. That's a hard one to swallow for some people. Well, if they've got really bad relationships with certain people,
Right.
it doesn't mean that person's aware of it. They may not be aware that they're loved,
Or they don't want to.
but
They
they're
don't
not
want
acting
to.
like they're loved
Right.
because they're not aware of it, right? So
Right.
it's about self-awareness. And number three, do the best you can to be love in every moment.
Amazing. Can't get any
Because when
better
you
than that.
outflow that love will come back to you.
Absolutely. I love that. Amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much, Murray. That's some great tools for sure, for sure. And our last one, I mean, I'm going to leave all the particulars for you in the description below, but how can people support you? Maybe a website? What would you like to leave with us today?
I have a couple of, they're not quite gifts. One of them actually is a gift. The other one's, you can give a small donation for the other one, but there are a couple of opportunities for people to experience archangelic energy transformation.
Wow.
And so the first one, and this is going again to this website, lifeenergycoaching.com. We have a tab at the top of our website called Programs. And if you hover over that Programs with your cursor, you'll see a drop-down menu of various different programs. I thoroughly recommend people explore them all, but there are a couple in there that give you a really easy way to experience archangelic energy transformation. The first one on the list is called Feel Great Now. And Feel Great Now, it's just offered on a donation basis because this is not really the area that we tend to play in. And it's the area of emotional health. But people, they give a donation, whatever that might be. We had a person in Kiev in Ukraine who gave $3 because the economy had shut down, and she that was what she felt she wanted to give.
Sure.
And it was absolutely fine with us. And you get a month of archangelic streaming that will work on resolving any issues you may have relating to stress and relating to anxiety. And possibly other things as well, if those aren't your main issues. Because in that situation, for example, the young lady in the Ukraine, there was a day during that month when her husband came home and told her about the death in a wartime killing, essentially, of someone that they both knew. And she found that she was able to receive that information in peace, whereas previously she would have gone into an emotional turmoil and just a whirlwind of emotion.
Wow.
So it's really, really miraculous what happens with archangelic energy transformation. So the other, that's Feel Great Now. And for those who want to know more about human energy and how it works, I wrote a short, and I stress short, it's like 11 pages long, ebook on the subject, basically touching on the different areas of human energetics. So that's an interesting thing because it's not only informational, but it's transformational. Everything that I bring to the world through life energy coaching or through business energy coaching is channeled archangelic energy. So when people read human energetics, and it takes, I don't know, maybe takes them 20-25 minutes to read through that. They'll feel it. It'll feel intense energetically. They should definitely drink water when they're reading it, and also over the next week. Because over the next week, the archangels are going to open them up to whatever is the next step in their evolution, their soul's evolution. So it's going to be absolutely customized to them. And I recommend doing this on a Sunday, because it's kind of like going to church, right? So you're reading a little bit like reading your Bible, but in this case, you're actually getting archangelic treatment. And it's probably the easiest day of the week to commit to something like this. So then the next, maybe you do it on Sundays. So the next Sunday, you read that again. And when I've done this, by the way, different things pop into my mind, different awarenesses become clear. And then you start another weekly cycle. So with human energetics, while there is a price point of $99 per month for people who want to use that on an ongoing basis, there's a 15-day window where it's free. So you don't pay anything until day 15. So there's an opportunity for people if they just want to experience this archangelic energy transformation and actually validate to themselves that it actually is real. Human energetics is a great way to open that door and walk through and experience that.
I love it. That's amazing. Thank you. Thank you, Mary. Thank you for joining us. That's all I have for everybody. And yeah, I highly recommend checking out Murray. We've spoken face to face and we had a great conversation, a lot, very similar mindset for sure. So I invite everyone to visit Murray and his website, as you can see, and we'll obviously put the particulars below.
Thank you for hosting me, Chris. It's been a pleasure. I love sharing what we do with whoever is interested.
Absolutely. Thank you.